Good morning to all. So in the last class we discussed about the USB flash drives. So today we have the advantages and disadvantages of the USB flash drives. So basically the USB flash drives have different kind of features and also we discussed about the major components and also different points regarding the technology used in the flash drives. So now we have the advantages and disadvantages of the USB flash drives. So the first one is regarding the advantages of the flash drives. So we have 5 major disadvantages of the USB flash drive. So the first advantage of the flash drive is that the data stored on flash drives are impervious to scratches and dust, and flash drives are mechanically very robust, making them suitable for transporting data from place to place and keeping it readily at hand. Most personal computers support the USB as of 2009. So this means that we can store the data and we can carry this data to different kind of computers, different operating systems, and we can the major use of this USB flash drive is that we can this kind of flash drives are suitable for transporting the data from place to place. So this is the first major important feature of the advantage of the flash drive. Secondly, we have another important feature, which is it can carry the data up to 1000 millions regarding the DVD or the CDs, in which the storage capacity of the flash drives, which varies from the 2 GB to the 256 GB of these storage devices. So these flash drives also store the data densely compared to many removable media, and the kind of this gigabytes, which is kind of measurements used for the storage capacity in the flash drives. So in the mid 2009 the 256 GB drives became available with the ability to hold many times more data than a DVD or even Blu-ray disc. So this is the another important feature or another important advantage of the flash drive, in which it can carry a huge amount of data with the help of this storage capacity, specifications of this storage capacity, and it is just many times more than a kind of a commonly used DVD or the CD. Thirdly, we have the another important feature of these flash drives, in which compared to the hard drives, the flash drives use little power, have no fragile moving parts, and are for the low capacities are small and light. So while compared to the hard drives, these flash drives use only a little amount of power. It is one of the important features. And basically, while we compare to the hard drives, the flash drive use only little power and also have no fragile moving parts, and for the low capacities they are small and light. So this is the third important feature of the flash drive. And fourth one is that the flash drives implement the USB mass storage device class, so that the most modern operating systems can read and write to them without installing the device drivers. This means that we can plug into any kind of these operating systems, and it automatically detects that USB mass storage kind of that driver, and we can read and write with the help of that specification of the OS. So there is no additional kind of software is required to be installed on the operating system in order to read and write the USB mass storage devices. So it is also a very important feature. Then the last one is that some flash drives retain their memory even after being submerged in water, even though with a machine wash, although there is not a design feature and not to be relied upon, leaving the flash drive up to dry completely before allowing current to run through it has known to result in a working drive with no future problems. So this means that a kind of additional feature for some kind of this flash drives, which is the water resistant. So many kind of these flash drives comes with this kind of water resistance, but most commonly that we use using that kind of very commonly used kind of flash drives, they do not have this kind of feature. So it is also a kind of advantage of this flash drives in which it uses the water resistance functionality. So these are the 5 major advantages of the flash drive. So the first one was regarding the storing the data, the amount of data on the this kind of flash drives. Second one was regarding the capacity of this USB flash drives, in which it can carry huge amount of data by buying this kind of huge amount of data storage devices. Then third one was regarding the comparison between the hard drives, in which it only uses a little power and there is no kind of moving parts, and for the low capacities they are very small and light in its size. Then the fourth one was regarding there is no kind of this flash drives software is required to read this kind of data on the computer. So while we plug in all this kind of flash drives to a computer, it automatically detects and installs the softwares or this kind of drivers which is used for this kind of USB drives. Then the fifth one was a additional feature in which the water resistance of the flash drives. So these are the major advantages of these flash drives. Now we have some disadvantages, some demerits of this kind of flash drives, which includes 4 major points. So the first one is that, like all the flash memory devices, the flash drives can sustain only a limited number of write and erase cycles before failure, and this should be a consideration when using a flash drive to run application software or an operating system. This means that a specific for the flash drive, there should be a specific cycle to read and write in order to copy this kind of files to the flash drives and to recreate that kind of files. So this means that there is a kind of specific time for the flash drives. Beyond that we cannot depend on this kind of drives. Maybe the data may be lost and there is no kind of a security beyond this kind of after this kind of these cycles. So this is one of the important drawback of these flash drives. Secondly, we have another important thing in which most USB flash drives do not include a write protect mechanism, although some have a switch on the housing of the drive itself to keep the host computer from writing or modifying data on the drive. And also the write protection makes a device which means suitable for repairing the virus contaminated host computers without risk of infecting the USB flash drive itself. So the write protection mechanism of the flash drive, it is also an advantage of this flash drive, in which it just protects from the infections or the virus attacks to the USB flash drives. And also most of these kind of flash drives do not have this kind of feature inbuilt. So this is also a kind of drawback of this flash drive, which means there is no kind of write protection to the most commonly used the flash drives. And some for the memory cards, they give this kind of feature in order to protect the data on the storage devices. Then the third one is regarding the drawback of these flash drives is that to the small size that they are easily misplaced, left behind or otherwise lost. This is particular problem if the data that contain are sensitive. So the size is very small while compared to any other kind of storage devices. So it is a kind of very occasionally it may be easily misplaced or left behind or otherwise lost. So it is also a kind of drawback of these flash drives. And the last point regarding the drawback of these flash drives is that compared to the other portable storage devices such as the external hard drives, the USB flash drives still have a high price per unit of the storage and were until recently most available in comparatively small capacities. So regarding the pricing of these flash drives, the pricing is much greater than the external hard disk according to the capacity. For example, as of now, for the 1 TB external hard disk, it may cost about 4,000 rupees, and for the 32 GB or 64 GB flash drive, it only consumes about 800 or 600 rupees. So this means that the 1 TB only consumes for about 4,000 rupees, and for the 64 GB or the 32 GB this kind of drives, it also have a price range of 500 to 800 rupees. So this means that the price, while compared to the capacity of the drive, the flash drives is more expensive than the other kind of the storage devices. So this is also another important drawback of the flash drive. So basically, the major drawback of this flash drive is the virus attack of these flash drives, in which we lost all this kind of data, and we can recover this kind of data to a certain extent, but we cannot replace all these kind of original files with the help of this recovering softwares. So it is also a kind of drawback of this flash drive. So we have 4 major drawback of this flash drive. So the first one was regarding the limited number of the erase, write and erase kind of cycles. Second one was regarding the they do not provide this write protection kind of that mechanism. Basically, the commonly used kind of this USB flash drives, they do not support this kind of write protect mechanism. The third one was regarding the kind of the size. Regarding the size, it may be used for this kind of easily misplaced, left behind, or otherwise lost. So it is also a kind of occasional kind of that disadvantage. Then the fourth one was regarding the pricing, which is that while compared to the other kind of storage devices, only while focusing on the storage capacity, the flash drives are more expensive than the other kind of storage devices. So that's regarding the advantages and disadvantages of these flash drives. So we have 5 major advantages and 4 major disadvantages of these flash drives. So that's regarding the USB flash drive. So in the last class we discussed about the introduction for the flash drives, then the technology, then the components of the flash drive, and also the major uses of the flash drive. So in this class we discussed about the major disadvantages and also the major features, advantages of these flash drives. So now we have the next topic of this module, which is the modems. So the modems means a kind of device which is used to access the internet for the computers. So when the digital data is to be sent over an analog facility, the digital signals must be converted to analog form, and this process of converting the digital signal to analog form is known as the modulation, and this process of this converting the analog signal to the digital form is known as the demodulation. So the modems basically have 2 purposes. First one is the modulation, second one is the demodulation. So in the introduction to this chapter we discussed about the different kind of devices, including the modem itself. So regarding that, we already discussed about the major important topics regarding the modem, in which a modem allows a computer to communicate over an analog medium, most commonly a telephone line or any other kind of that device, and this modem encodes the digital signals from the computer as analog signals suitable for the transmission, and then decodes the digital signals or digital data from a modulated analog signal, which is also known by the name the demodulation. So with the help of these modems, we can connect 2 more computers to communicate over a telephone line, with the data passed between them being represented as sound. So the modems have a different kind of specification according to the use, in which the connectors may be changed, and also the use of these modems can be together we can call it as a kind of internet accessing device for the computers. So now we have the Wi-Fi enabled modem which helps to connect the internet for the mobiles and laptops computers wirelessly. So it is also a kind of advancement in the field of modems. So basically, while we focusing on the topic the modems, we have to focus on the modulation and demodulation. So what is modulation? So when digital data is to be sent over an analog facility, the digital signals must be converted to analog form. And this process of converting the digital signal to analog form is known as the modulation. So just converting from the digital to the analog. So this is the modulation process, and to just opposite to this kind of activity which is regarded as a demodulation, which means just converting the analog signal to the digital form, is known as the demodulation. So while we discussing the topic the modems, we have two topics, which is the demodulation and modulation, which is the one of the important topic that we should focus on. And that term modem stands for the modulator and demodulator. So the modulator means the first two letters of modulator, which means MO, then this the first three letters of this demodulator, which means the DEM. So by joining these two terms, we get the term which is the modems. So basically the modem is based around this modulation and demodulation process. Then the digital transmission of data is preferred over the analog transmission of data due to the lower cost, higher transmission speeds and lower error rate. So these are the major advantages of this while using this modem. So first one is regarding the speed of the data, and we can transmit this data at a very lower cost, then the higher transmission speeds and also very lower error rate. So these are the three major important uses of this modem. And also this modem is regarded as a device which is used to carry out this process of modulation and demodulation. Then hence when an analog facility is used for data communication between two digital devices, two modems should be required, one near each device. And in that figure that in the textbook, we have a clear idea regarding the illustration of this use of modem, basically for the data communication. Then the analog signal is transmitted from the through the telephone line, and it is converted into digital form by the demodulator of the modem placed near the receiver of the computer. Then the receiver computer processes this data, and then the modem near it modulates the processed data to analog form. So basically the signal which comes through this kind of the telephone lines or any kind of cables, it should be in analog form, and with the help of this receiver computer, it just converts this analog signals to the digital signals. And this modem should give a kind of process by demodulating these signals, which means just converting the analog to the digital signals. Then the analog data is returned via telephone line to the sender computer, and at the end, and also where the analog signals demodulated to the digital form first by the modem there, then the digital data is passed on to the sender computer. Hence a modem is an essential piece of hardware for any application in which two digital devices want to communicate over an analog transmission channel. So this is regarding just an introduction to the modems, which means that just converting the analog signals from these telephone lines or cables to the digital signals with the help of a computer. Then after that, converting this digital signal to the analog signal in order to communicate, in order to share this kind of data to the other computers. So now we have different kinds of modem, types of modem. So the classification of modems can be done on the basis of a number of criteria that includes the line type, operation mode, synchronization, modulation and range. Some of the most common and popularly used types of modems we can divide it into different categories, but basically we have internal modem and external modem. So the internal modem is only in one type, but we have external modem different types, which includes the DSL modem, ADSL modem, SDSL modem, cable modems, and also the SAT modem, which means the satellite modems. So these are the different categories of modem. So basically we have major two divisions, which is internal modem and external modem, and external modem can be divided into different subtopics. So first we have the internal modem. So the internal modem is a device which is installed inside a desktop or laptop computer, allowing the computer to communicate over a network with other connected computers. And internal modems are integrated into the computer system and therefore do not need any special attention. So these kinds of modems should be installed internally in the inside of these computers or laptops, and we do not need this kind of any kind of external component to function these kinds of modulation and demodulation. So this means that an internal modem is a device which is installed inside a desktop or laptop computers. It is very important, in which these types of modems should be installed inside the computer itself, and it allowing the computer to communicate over a network with the other connected computers. So basically the laptops you can connect with the help of these wireless connections or this kind of DSL connections. So this means that there is a kind of modulating device which is installed in this kind of kinds of laptops and computers, but we can use the internal modem as a kind of this kind of as like this integrated kind of this modem in a computer. So this means that there is no need of any other peripherals, any other external components to get this kind of internet access to the computers. So it is very important feature of this internal modem, in which it is just integrated inside the computer itself. Then the internal modems are activated when you run a communication program and are turned off when you exit that program, and this convenience is especially used for the no voice users, and the internal modems usually cost lesser than the external modems, but the price difference is usually small. And the major disadvantage with the internal modem is this location inside the computer. When you want to replace an internal modem, you have to go inside the computer case to make the switch. So we cannot replace this position of this modem, in which whether if we want to switch the modem to another place, it is quite difficult to dismantle this kind of computer and take this internal modem and then replacing that modem. So it is very inconvenience for this for the common users. So the internal modem have some major advantages, which includes there is no kind of external hardware is required to access the internet, and also there is no kind of switching the modem and switching off and connecting it to the internet. It is basically will be automatically connected to the internet if there is the internet signal is available. So this is also very important factor regarding the internal modem. Then we have major two types of internal modems. It is basically quite common in nowadays, because the Wi-Fi, which is one of the most commonly used kind of this wireless connectivity for the laptops, mobile devices, and as well as the desktop computers. So the two types of internal modems includes, first one is the dial-up modem, which is the earliest forms of the modem, and the second one is the Wi-Fi modem, so which means the Wi-Fi connectivity. So the dial-up modems are only connected to the internet when they have called into your service provider, and dial-up modems operate over a telephone line and require a network access phone number and logon credentials to make a connection. So dial-up modem means it just work on based on this telephone line, and we have to contact that service provider in order to access that kind of network, and also we have to log on the credentials to make that connection, and the later can connect wirelessly, which means the Wi-Fi connection. It can connect wirelessly and without credentials in certain cases. And also the internal computer modems are usually the 56K modems, which mean that the modem is able to receive 56 KB per second, which means the 56 kilobytes or 5 56,000 bits per second of data. Commonly it is the standard bandwidth with the telephone line. So basically the internal modems are exclusively for the telephone line dial-up kind of that category, but for the Wi-Fi category we have 10 Mbps up to 50 MB, 60 Mbps speed kind of that modem. So which means that this is a kind of very older model of this kind of modems. It only have the 56 KB per second, which is very low compared to the network that we get in nowadays, which may be the 4G or any kind of that network. So this means that the internal modem has its own limitations, but it also has some kind of this features also, in which we do not require this kind of any external kind of hardware to access the internet if this internal modem is present in the system. So it is very important factor. So this is regarding the internal modem, the first topic of this modem. Then we have the second category, which is the external modem. So basically the external modem means it uses the kind of external kind of component to access the internet. So basically an external modem can be used to the same purpose and in the same conditions as internal computer modem. However, external modem is a small box that uses other kind of interfaces to be connected to the computer. So it is basically like a small box, maybe the Wi-Fi, maybe they have this kind of antennas on it, but basically it is a very small rectangle size kind of that modem. It helps to connect to the internet, especially to the computers and for these laptops. Also wirelessly we can connect to the mobile devices, laptops, computers, etc. So the bandwidth and the specifications of each modem can be categorized according to the different divisions of this kind of modems. So we have different kinds of modem, external modem, which includes the major kind of this modem, which includes the DSL, which means the digital subscriber line, then the ADSL, then the also we have the SDSL and the cable modems, and also now we have the satellite kind of that modem. So all these kind of modem have basically the same purpose in order to connect to the internet, to access the internet, but the specifications are very different in its nature. Basically a DSL modem is exclusively for this kind of telephonic line like that, and also we can connect to the computers with the help of this DSL cables. Then ADSL also a kind of an upgrade for this kind of DSL, which means the asymmetric digital subscriber line. Then the SDSL, which means the symmetric digital subscriber line, and lastly we have the cable modems and also the satellite modem. So the satellite modem is a kind of a new addition to these modems, the kind of these external modems. So an external modem can be used to access this internet and in the same conditions as internal computer modem. However, the external modem is a small box that uses other kind of interfaces to be connected to the computer, and it could be serial modem, named thus because it uses a serial port to connect to the computer, usually installed on the back of the computer. So basically there is a kind of cable in order to connect to the computer from this kind of modem. So that's why this kinds of modem can be called as a serial type of modems, and there should be a serial port back of the computer to connect to that port, and usually installed on the back of the computer. The serial port is an easy to install option for the external modem, and also the same small box on the other hand can be used as a USB modem, which normally uses a USB port, usually placed on the back or in the front of the computer. So we can connect with the two major ways with this external modem. First one is this kind of cables, basically the DSL or the ADSL kind of that cables, and we can also connect the USB kind of connectivity, which means with the help of these USB cables we can connect the modem to the computer. So this is also a very important factor. Then the external modems are easy to install because you don't have to open the computer, and also these modems have their own power supply and connect with the cable to a computer's serial port, and the telephone which is one of the telephone line, which is one of the most importantly service provider of this the internet. Basically, the broadband connections was based on this kind of telephonic lines, and now we have most advanced form of cables, especially the fiber optic cables like that. So basically, this is the one of the basic form of this broadband or the internet connection. So this line, the telephonic line, plugs into a socket on the rear panel of the modem. Because the external modems have their own power supply, you can turn off the modem to break an online connection quickly without powering down the computer. It is also an advantage. We can switch on or off whether it is required, and there is no kind of interruption while we using that kind of this external modems. And also another advantage over an internal modem is that the external modem separate power supply does not drain any power from the computer. It is also a very important factor, because there is a kind of external power supply for this kind of external modems. There is no kind of batteries or any kind of power which is used from the computer for this kind of external modems. It is also a kind of advantage. You can also monitor your modem's connection activity by watching the status lights. So it is also another important feature in which we can get a clear idea regarding the signals, whether it is as this kind of internet signals or whether it is in a proper connection by looking these kind of signals on the modem. So it is also an advantage of these external modems. So these are the major important points that we should focus on the external modem. So basically, these external modems are more practical than the internal modems, and it has also some kind of these advantages. It is also a minor kind of advantages, but also it is very useful to connect to the computer, to switch off that modem in order to watch these kind of signals, to clarify that kind of any kind of that interruptions. So which means that we can connect to the internet with the help of this external modem more systematically than this kind of internal modems. So that's regarding an introduction to the external modem. Then we have different categories of external modems. So first we have the DSL, which means the digital subscriber line modem. So the digital subscriber line modem means they provide fast internet access as they work on high speed DSL connections that are considered much faster than dial-up internet connections. The foremost advantage of DSL is its ability to use the phone line to make or receive calls while connected to the internet. So this means that with the help of this telephonic line, we can connect to the modem, the one line to the modem and the another line to telephone itself. So simultaneously we can use that telephone and also that modem. So this means that we can connect to the internet and also we can use that for telephone. So it is also a very important factor regarding the DSL modem. So I repeat, this DSL modem, which means the digital subscriber line modem, they provide fast internet access as they work on high speed DSL connections that are considered much faster than the dial-up internet connections. So here we have only comparing to the dial-up kind of that modems, but basically we have the most advanced, most faster kind of that modem connections we have today. But while we compare to dial-up modems, these DSL modems give a kind of faster network. And also the foremost advantage of DSL is the ability to use a telephone and this kind of internet connections simultaneously. And also the traditional dial-up service can provide this service without the use of a second phone line, and DSL achieves this by adding a filter on the phone jacks in a location that will have the telephones connected to them. And also a DSL modem provides similar service to that provided by a dial-up modem, and the only exception is the high-end and also by the setup and the technological makeup of DSL modem differs from the dial-up. So there is a kind of difference in its structure, in its connection of the dial-up and the DSL modem. But while we compare to the dial-up modem, which is a kind of internal modem, this external modem, which is the DSL modem, is a very good option over this kind of dial-up modem, and we can use that like the advantage, like we can use the telephone and also the internet simultaneously, in which the dial-up modem does not provide this kind of functionality, and also we get a kind of very fast network than the dial-up modem. So these are the major points that we should focus on while we go through this topic, which is the DSL modem. So digital subscriber line modem, this is the first category of this external modem. And now we have the ADSL modem, which means the asymmetric digital subscriber line. So this is another kind of DSL modem itself, but it uses a kind of a different category, a category of connection in order to connect to the internet, to the computer. So the ADSL modem provides faster downloading, which means the getting the data speed, than the uploading, sending data, which means these modems have significant advantages over the dial-up modem. So basically the major advantage of this asymmetric the digital subscriber line modems, ADSL modems, is that we get a kind of very fast downloading speed than the uploading speed, which means we can download, we can watch the videos, any kind of that media files, and also download the documents and any files with the help of this ADSL modem in a very fast manner than the previous models, which means the dial-up modems, the DSL modem, etc. So there is a kind of a clear advantage over the other types of modem for the ADSL modem. Like the dial-up modem, it also uses a standard telephone line, but it does not tie up the line, and thus the telephone line can be used while accessing the internet. And the ADSL service is like an always-on connection that cannot be left connected indefinitely. And the ADSL modem is faster than the dial-up modem. So basically, the speed of that internet that we get through the ADSL modem is much faster than any kind of the previous kind of that modems, basically the dial-up modems. And also the ADSL modem is faster than the dial-up modem due to available bandwidth on the dedicated copper wire. ADSL modem can accommodate a telephone conversation. An ADSL modem needs the ADSL service through the internet service provider, which means the ISP. It can work with the dial-up account. So basically the ADSL modem is exclusively for this kind of ADSL service providers, which means the internet service providers. So basically the BSNL, like that companies, they provide this kind of telephonic line, this kind of modems, basically for this home users and for the office use. Basically these are regarded as the ADSL, which means the asymmetric digital subscriber line, and this can be regarded as a kind of broadband connection for the home and for the office. So this is regarding the ADSL modem, which is just a advanced form of the DSL modem, which uses the same technology, but the speed is much faster, greater than the dial-up modem, and also it is very accessible to the internet in a very good manner, and we can accommodate with a telephonic line to the internet, and also it needs a kind of ADSL service through an internet service provider, and it can work with the dial-up account. So this is regarding the ADSL modem. It needs a specific kind of this net connection for the telephonic line. So we have to apply for that, and we can go through this kind of broadband connections, especially through this ADSL modems. And now we have the ADSL modem, which also have this kind of Wi-Fi connectivity, which means that by connecting to the computer, we can also use this modem as a wireless modem, in which we can connect the mobile device or any other device to the modem by accessing the wireless connectivity, by providing the password and that kind of information. So that's regarding the ADSL modem, which is the second category of this external modem. Now we have the SDSL modem. So the SDSL modem means the symmetric digital subscriber line. So There is also a kind of small difference between this ADSL and DSL. So the S3SL means it uses a kind of the different bandwidth which is different from the ADSL and the DSL, and the S3SL modems works on the SDSL lines that provide equal bandwidth in both directions. So we get a kind of uploading and downloading at a same speed, and such types of modems are useful for those businesses which need to upload as well as to download large files or programs from the internet. And these modems use voice traffic lanes to expand the bandwidth. So these modems have a greater bandwidth than the ADSL modem, which means that we get a kind of very good speed to upload and both for the download speed. And also these modems use the voice traffic lines to expand the bandwidth, and therefore aborting the possibility of a conversation when the SDSL modem is connected. For this purpose, a dedicated phone line is required. So basically this SDSL modems also works on the principle of this telephonic line, and the basic difference between the other kinds of this DSL modem is that the SDSL modem have a kind of a very equal bandwidth for the uploading and for the downloading kind of that network activities. Then now we have the the fourth category of this cable modem, which is the cable modems. So the cable modems are the types of modems that uses the cable TV wiring instead of the phone line to provide the internet connectivity. So basically this is one of the advanced form of this modem in which it uses the cable line instead of this telephonic line to connect to the internet. So we can get the cable TV along with the internet by accessing these kind of cable modems, and they provide the bi-directional data communication via the radio frequency channels on a cable television infrastructure. And the cable modems mainly deliver the broadband internet access in the form of cable internet, taking the benefit of the high bandwidth of a cable television network. And cable modems works on the same principle of this kind of this DSL modem, but only difference is that it uses this cable line instead of this telephonic line. And one needs to have the service from the cable TV provider for the internet connectivity, and also some network cables. The frequencies used for the data traffic and TV traffic do not interface each other. So the TV connection is separate, and also this kind of cable internet connection is also in a different category. But we can connect both these connections in a systematic manner by providing the good plans provided by this kind of cable operators. And also cable modems are commonly deployed in Europe, North and South America and Australia, but now we have this kind of accessibility in our native place also, because these cable operators, now we get a kind of very good network than the telephonic line, that kind of internet connectivity. So the cable modems is a kind of advanced form of external modem in which it provides the network in a very steady manner, and also we get a kind of very good faster network, and also it is a very good option behind this kind of DSL, ADSL and SDSL kind of modems. So that's regarding the fourth category of this modem. Now we have the last category, which is the satellite modem or the SAT modem. So the satellite modem means one of the least common types of cable modem is a satellite modem or the SAT modem. It is a wireless modem converting the digital data into the radio waves to communicate with a satellite dish. So here a kind of wireless connectivity is provided by satellite kinds of this connection, in which it uses the radio waves in order to connect to the internet. And also this particular type of service is more expensive than other conventional types of internet connectivity, and the satellite modems can be of great help for the business or people in rural areas that do not yet have the DSL or the cable service offerings. So this means that the satellite modems are much expensive than the other kinds of modem, but it gives a kind of very conventional kind of this internet connectivity. We get a very faster and smoother kind of internet connectivity, because first thing is that that does not need any kind of this wired connections. It is exclusively works on the basis of this wireless connectivity. So that's regarding the satellite modem. It is a kind of advanced form of this modem. And regarding the cable modem that we discussed in the last topic, which is the cable modems, now we have the other most advanced form of that modem, which means which can carry this kind of fiber optic kind of this connectivity, which means the FTTH. So it is one of the latest mode of connectivity to the internet, and it also comes under the topic the cable modems. So these are the basics of these different kinds of modems. So we have the internal modem, then the external modem. The internal modem we divide into the dial-up and also the Wi-Fi kind of connectivity. Then the external modem we divide into the DSL, the ADSL, then the SDSL, then the cable, and also last we discussed about the satellite modems. So these are the different categories of these modems. So that's regarding today's class. So we have one more topic in this unit, which is the central processing unit. So that we discuss in the next class. So that's for today. Thank you. Happy learning.